Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 7, Episode 16.
Or Episode 158 if you're counting.
And somebody here is counting. It's typically
me.
you.
It's me.
It's always you.
We've discussed this.
Thank you, as always, to the Patreon contributors at patreon.com/MarsGirl who make this show and all kinds of other stuff I do possible. Wouldn't be able to do any of this without you. Happy December.
Yay! December show.
It's not November.
It's not November anymore.
It's not November.
You can stop writing your novels now.
Yeah.
Or keep writing them, if you're pretty close to the
I
end.
always intend to start one, and then I never do, and I never get through NaNoWriMo, so I'm a horrible author because I don't author.
So you could have just done the normal thing and blame it on the turkey coma.
Oh, no. I was in a coma way before the turkey.
Okay.
Although, I was in way worse than a coma after the turkey.
Right. So last week we had our show the day before Thanksgiving because, of course, everybody wants to go eat their turkey and pie and whatever fixings you have there, which we did with our family. Unfortunately, you did not come out very good afterward.
I don't know why it was just me.
It was just because the thing is, we all ate the same thing.
Yeah, apparently nobody else had a problem, but I came away with food poisoning.
The worst bout I've ever seen.
The worst I've ever had my entire life. And so on Black Friday, I ended up in the hospital. So that really wasn't so good.
But you're better now?
I am better now.
Yes.
I got better immediately. But man, they gave me these anti-nausea pills, alright? And one of them
has the weirdest side effect that I've ever heard of.
One of them tripped me out so hard. Well, one, it laid me on my ass, alright? Because
Well, you were already sick to begin with.
What I mean by that is that it made me so drowsy. I just thought I was going to fall asleep right in the middle of a parking lot somewhere as we were out and about doing other stuff the following day after I got out of the hospital. And then on top of that, I was realizing as I'm listening to things, like we were watching an episode of Kamen Rider X-Aid, and I'm listening to the opening of the show, and I'm like, man, they encoded it weird. It's playing half a pitch flat, and you're like, it's not playing flat, and I was just like, oh, I'm tired, whatever. And then as time went on, I realized, my ringtones sounded flat, and everything that I was listening to that I knew by memory already sounded half a pitch flat. And then I was like, no, it's not just that, it's everything. Everything on Earth sounded flat.
And then you look it up, and then you find these pills actually have the side effect of affecting a person's sense of pitch.
They can, yeah. Or they create... They're a hallucinogen if you take too much of it, and that can also affect things that you think that you hear. And I was going nuts! It was ridiculous! I thought I was crazy! I never want to take that medicine ever again, not even if I'm nauseous. I'll take the other bottle, maybe. But
yeah, because that wasn't supposed to be an hallucinogen. No, a hallucinogen. Sorry, grammar.
A hallucinogen.
A hallucinogen. The important part is you're better now.
Yeah.
And we didn't miss much.
It was... I guess we didn't miss much, but what we are missing something right now, if we're to be honest.
As we are doing this show live, and thank you again to everybody who's come out here. We do appreciate you coming out here when you have many other options, such as right now, when the Game Awards are airing right now, and there's apparently some bomb stuff going on,
There's a couple of things that we did manage to look at right before this, but there was no way we were going to be able to talk about it live on the show.
Right, so more likely than not, we're going to be talking about anything that's happening tonight on the Game Awards next week, but we would be remiss to not mention friggin' Death Stranding.
Yeah, just had a trailer during the show, and they just keep surprising.
Yeah, so they add on Mads Mikkelsen is part of the cast now, because he's just that good of a bad guy. But then at the top of the thing, my eyes are still, my eyes aren't perfect, but I'm pretty sure I saw Guillermo del Toro in the game.
Which is funny because, he said, we were so sad last year when we heard about Death Stranding, and we thought, oh, well, Guillermo's not going to be part of this, even though he also got a bad hand for Silent Hills.
Right, exactly.
And he said, well, I'm not getting back into video games. Forget it. It's not happening. Everything I touch just goes to crap. But there he is. That he's been convinced somehow to continue working with Hideo Kojima. So
Kojima just lends his hand out. No, come with me to my game. And Guillermo's like, okay. And then that's what happened. And it looks so weird, and I love what I see there.
I know.
But we don't want to talk about that too much. We don't know that much about it. We'll talk about that more next week. Just saying, that looks like that'll make a lot of people buy the next gen PlayStation. I want it right now.
Yeah, the Pro. Specifically, because it's supposed to be running in Super HD 4K. Which if you're gonna have an HD 4K TV to play it on, is going to probably look ridiculously freaky. But I want it willingly. And all that having been said, yeah, that and other things that we're going to talk about, that we'll save that for next week. That's going to be big stories for next week. For right now, we do have other things we want to talk about. Do we have anything else we want to talk about before we say what our major stories are?
Also, thank you to everybody who came out this weekend for our stream. Yes, we were going to do it last Friday, but of course there was a delay there due to sickness. Yeah. So we did play a bit of some Jackbox games, some Heroes of the Storm. We'll probably do that again, because again, we are doing this to raise money to get us out to MagFest. As we've mentioned before, this is the one year where it's kind of in question whether or not we'll be able to. So any help with that would be appreciated. We will announce again when we are going to do that.
So it's ongoing, by the way, and if for some reason we don't make it out to MagFest, then we'll just put this back into bettering our show and bettering the stream. But we would really like to be able to still provide the Nerf War, because it's never happened without us. So we want to still be the hosts of that. That would be great. So, that having been said, I guess we can talk about what our major news stories of the week are going to be, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so first off, with our top story, we're going to talk to you guys about a new take on The Wizard of Oz coming to us from NBC called Emerald City. We just saw a first trailer from it. We're going to talk to you guys about what they've changed about it, comparing it to other iterations of The Wizard of Oz, and whether or not it's worth your time.
All right. Secondly, everybody perhaps is familiar with the giant 1/1 scale Gundam that stands on Odaiba in Tokyo, Japan. That has had a history of going up and down. It is going back down again, and we're going to talk about what that means, what the future of the Gundam means, and what it means to us specifically, I think.
And then our last story for the evening, we had brought some news to you guys about this earlier on, but now we've got some more details about the crossover between Nintendo and Universal theme parks. We're going to talk to you guys about what they have planned, how they're hoping to expand, and things we're actually hoping to get out of it.
Right. Before that, though, I know you've got follow-ups for me, so let's go ahead and talk about that for now.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the first bit of follow-ups. We always start with the DC stuff first. So the first thing we're going to talk to you guys about is the Lego Batman movie.
All right.
Which we have a picture of here, the latest poster. There in the poster, I know you guys can't see it really there, but we have a picture of, the different villains there in Batman's Rogues Gallery, one of them, of course, being Two-Face. The interesting thing that we're seeing reported now is Two-Face is getting a lot of big news lately. We just heard about William Shatner's going to be playing him in the next direct-to-DVD Batman 66 version. Here, we have to harken back to the 89 Batman there with Tim Burton, and famously, Harvey Dent in that movie was played by...
I don't know.
You don't remember?
No, I don't.
Lando Calrissian.
Okay, cool.
Yes, so Billy D. Williams famously played Harvey Dent in that movie, and he didn't actually get to play Two-Face. That eventually went to Tommy Lee Jones. Well, here in the Lego Batman movie, Billy D. Williams will actually get to play Two-Face.
Okay.
So that, it's kind of his come up, and it's time for you to play the role. It's just almost 30 years later.
Well, that's okay. He's allowed.
That's fine. No, that's absolutely fine.
He's allowed.
Okay, so on the other lesser end of Batman things, over on Gotham, there's a new promo for the mid-season finale, and they're bringing Jerome back. And
because of course they are. We knew they were going to.
We knew they were going to do it, and they said, oh, no, we're going to wait until season 4. We're going to pave the way. No, he's back. He's already back.
In Pog form.
In Pog form. In not quite Joker Pog form. So we got that to look forward to. Maybe I'll start picking it up again to see
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Jerome was the only thing keeping me watching. I'm not going to lie. So I'll see what they do there. Maybe I'll at least read. I might read.
Just read.
I'm just saying.
Just read.
Okay.
Okay.
So moving on to other news,
Thank
we
you.
can talk to you guys about Doctor Strange news. That has passed the $600 million mark.
Pretty good.
Did well this weekend. Of course, not as well as Disney's Moana, which opened bigger because it was opening weekend and it's a Disney movie and it's a
Like, no
holiday.
kidding,
Like,
yeah.
no kidding. But it's still making the big bucks. Moving over to some Star Trek news. Over with Star Trek Discovery, we've got 2 new additions to the cast. Anthony Rapp, who's most famous for originating the role of Mark in the musical Rent, and Doug Jones, who of course has done numerous roles over the years, most famously Abe Sapien from the Hellboy movies. Originally he was just the suit actor for it, then he eventually did provide the voice as well. Both of them playing individually a new gay character for the series and an alien. Doug Jones, of course, playing the alien because that's what he does. He's best at, being creatures and things like that.
Right.
So we have that to look forward to. They will be joining Michelle Yeoh in the cast. More news on that as it develops. Happy to hear that.
Yeah, happy to hear that it is developing because,
Right.
gosh, it's been kind of in scary limbo.
But at least we're getting some positive news out of it.
I guess
that's
so,
nice.
yeah.
Okay, over on the Star Wars end of things, so a lot of you guys probably had that big old fight this weekend with Fandango as tickets
Rogue
were...
One launched.
Rogue
yeah.
One tickets launched at midnight Eastern time, which was 11 o'clock our time here. We had a hard enough time trying to get those tickets.
I know, it was bad.
Our dream was to see it again at a draft house. That wasn't going to happen. For us particularly, we were behind 3,500 people in the queue.
They don't fit that many people in a draft house.
No. Now, admittedly, a lot of theaters have opened up other showings, but they are going quickly, so if you haven't gotten your tickets, get on it, because they're going to go, and they're going to go fast.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving over to some Assassin's Creed news. So we've got some more trailers coming out now showing a little bit more about the movie, about how the Animus works specifically. A lot differently than the game. Of course, you've been playing them lately to get yourself caught up. Here, the way the Animus works is more like a... not quite a bungee rig. You're attached to an arm, basically, and the memories are projected out into the room as opposed to a visor over your head.
Right.
So it's more of an immersive experience there for the main character, being played by Michael Fassbender. That, of course, coming out later on this month on the 21st. So, get your Christmas money together, go see Assassin's Creed. At least somebody's wearing some kind of Christmassy colors if you count blood.
What?
It's the blood.
You know what?
Red
You tried too
costume
hard.
Santa.
It's okay.
No.
Stop.
Okay, it's not really a Christmas movie.
No, it's not Christmas.
Bottom line. Okay, I've put this off long enough, so the Power Rangers crap. Let's get right into it.
Okay. Talk
So
to me.
you guys have seen it. Just put it out there. So this is supposed to be Alpha.
Alpha 5, yeah.
This was officially revealed just yesterday, I believe. And you know,
well, you didn't say anything about it until you said it
was
yesterday.
yesterday. It was
yeah.
yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you take the USS Enterprise, right, from the original Star Trek series, and you fold it on itself, and then you stick it on top of a Captain Planet figure, and you put both of those in the microwave and put it in for about 2 minutes, and then you pull it out and let it cool, this is what you get. That, like, people who were wary up till this point, and the thing about it is, if you're a fan of this design, good for you. I'm just saying, I agree with the guy who put the googly eyes on this thing. Why does Alpha have eyes? He has a visor. He's always had a visor. Even when he gets redesigned ever so slightly, the design is the same. Here, it's like I get it, you're pushing the alien thing, but you're pushing the alien thing too far. And then when I look at Rita, no, you made
Why is she not more alien?
Exactly. Why
is she a sexy green babe? I don't understand.
I don't even know. So we're messing with, I guess that's the thing for Power Rangers news this week. We're messing with canon here because, there was nothing wrong with Alpha being a straight up robot, and now he's some sort of melted Captain Planet figure with eyes. No, I'm not a fan. Clearly. Hashtag Dave, the dumpster fire. And then the other thing...
what is the other thing?
Coming from the Boom Comics, which is another interesting thing, they've added a new, and a lot of you have maybe seen this in other news sites, added a 7th Ranger to the canon there. The villain of the Boom Comics currently, the Black Dragon, was revealed to be another Ranger who looks surprisingly similar to the White and Green Ranger costumes with a few other affectations there on the costume. No word yet on who the exact identity is under that mask, behind that belt. But we will be finding that out, so that's something to look forward to there in the Boom comics.
Kind of interesting, yeah.
Kind of interesting. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the costume.
I mean, I'm not either,
but I'm not nearly as mad about it as the Alpha thing.
Considering the other Power Rangers news that came out yesterday, like, I'm not upset about this at all. Like, let them, because they're not screwing with something else that already exists.
Well, yeah, this is attacking on as opposed to straight up messing what was already there.
Yeah.
So, you know, take it however you want.
Yeah,
there.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so moving on to some other news, over with Detective Pikachu. So we reported to you guys that they want to move forward with a live-action Detective Pikachu movie. They have a director now.
I can't believe they're actually moving forward.
That's going to be Rob Letterman. He most recently directed the Goosebumps movie. That movie starring Jack Black.
Why is this real?
It's real.
Why is this real?
They want to cash in on that Pokemon buck. They know Sun and Moon are big right now. I don't blame them for wanting to make money off this.
Yeah, but why specifically Detective Pikachu?
I don't know.
It's not even out yet.
I don't even know.
I don't understand.
I can't say that I understand much either, but that's just the way it's looking from right here.
Okay.
Yeah, go figure. Okay, so moving on to some anime movie news. So we've talked to you guys before about the Death Note Netflix movie that we're going to see over here in just a bit. Now we've gotten confirmation that actor Masaoka, who's most famous for his role of Hero on the show Heroes there on NBC, has a role in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, he's very much a nerd, a fan of anime and things like that. So it's nice to see that he'll be there in the movie.
Right.
Moving over to something you've got here right on the desk. So Final Fantasy 15 just came out this week.
I already reversed the cover of my game, so my cover is the standard flat black. It doesn't even have the rating on it anywhere, but the normal cover is in there, I promise.
Yes.
So
they've already moved 5 million units of this game.
I mean, that is not to be that's not surprising in the slightest, because based on name alone, whether or not it was going to be a good game, it was going to sell. It was going to move copies. That doesn't shock me in the slightest, you know?
So as briefly as you can...
I can be brief.
Well, what have you thought of it so far?
It's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but it is easily mountains better than Final Fantasy 13, but that wasn't hard, you know? The gameplay is different, but I think it's fun. So I have been the one strange... I've heard everybody saying that they're, like, plowing through the story and then going back and doing the rest of the side stuff in post-game. Mm-hmm. I am doing this way opposite, and I am doing 80 bajillion different side quests rather than going straight through the story, and now I'm already way over leveled for the story, and I might thwomp it by the time I actually start to pursue the story.
Right, because I believe you told me you're level, 30 right now?
I'm level 39, and your current... then the next part of the story, of which I'm only in chapter 3 and I've played for 25 hours, and there's 15 chapters, and it's like level 10. So I'm almost 30 levels. I'm almost 30 levels too high for this. And furthermore, what little story I've seen, it makes sense. It's understandable, which is what makes it better than 13's story. However, its presentation is kind of crap. That is really disappointing, but it's not the worst Final Fantasy game. Easily, it's not the worst Final Fantasy game. Otherwise, the gameplay is fun. And when I'm not sitting there in real time, traveling for 7 minutes from one location to another, or trying to fast travel, but it takes like 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to load the fast travel, then I'm having a good time. Otherwise, yeah, that traveling time is kind of ridiculous. But if you're just plowing through just the story, then don't worry. You're not going to be doing that much travel like I'm doing all over the world, back and forth all over the place. Yes.
Okay.
That's what I have to say about it.
All right. And then the last bit of news we've got for you tonight is more confirmation this week. We've seen the footage from this most recent episode of Exade for the movie war coming out this month now, since we're in December. I keep forgetting we're not in November anymore. But we have this... new photo here to show you guys from the Heisei Generations movie war, visually confirming the return of, respectively, Shunya Shiraishi and Takeuchi Ryoma as Kamen Rider Wizard and Drive, respectively. Based off what we're hearing now in the most recent trailer, we at least hear Sanogaku there as Kamen Rider Gaim, so it's pretty much like I figured last week. He's there at least in voiceover. Now, admittedly, he has been very busy this year. You know, he's done different dramas and stage plays, so it makes sense. Which is something I'm actually very happy to report. That a writer can't come back because they're busy. I would personally like them to come back, but if their career took off from there, that's the best thing you could hope for somebody. But
exactly.
Still, this is going to be a very action-packed movie war. Now they're starting to tease little bits and pieces of how this is actually going to affect the canon story thus far of Exade, and I can't wait to see what the story actually develops into because of this movie.
Yeah, hope it's not crap.
I really hope it's not crap. Because so far, and you guys can, check this out over on my Exade replays, I'm actually really legitimately enjoying the series.
I am too, yeah.
So, please, Toei, just keep it up. Don't screw it up. You guys didn't do very well last movie war. You kind of have to make up for that. Admittedly, bringing back old writers, that helps. That really does help. But just use them correctly, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. I don't want to dwell on it too long. Let's get into the show.
Okay, so first story, yes.
Yes, first story revolving around NBC's Emerald City, which you guys are seeing here. The trailer was just released recently. So the easiest way to describe this is basically the Wizard of Oz
by way of what?
Game of Thrones, basically.
I guess, yeah, it might be the best way of looking at it. So you've got whom I assume is Dorothy.
No, it's Dorothy.
Do they say her name? I don't remember them saying the name
in the description.
Dorothy.
Her name is Dorothy.
Okay, and she definitely is from Kansas.
Yes.
And she wants more than what's before her, which sounds a little more like Belle of Beauty and the Beast. But I guess that was kind of the same sort of character description as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, too. Then, of course, Twister comes in, takes her, and a dog, I guess.
A dog. It's a canine unit dog this time.
Yeah.
Which may or may not be named Toto by her understanding of, oh, your name is Toto, there's the dog tag. Or, you know what, we're here in another state of being or country or wherever we are, and I like, that song Africa, so I'm naming you Toto. Like, however they decide to do that, that's on them. But you see here that the crux of the series is that it's the story and they've completely revamped it to look more like Game of Thrones. Like, let's be honest here. Because, granted, the story of The Wizard of Oz is fantasy. It takes place in another realm. There's wizards.
They're making
there's
this
witches.
look really Middle Earth kind of fantasy, though, almost.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, like, this isn't the first time we've gotten revamps of The Wizard of Oz. It seems like one of these comes along every 5 years now. Like, I remember, and it's still there on Netflix, I think, Tin Man from over on the Sci-Fi Channel, which I kind of enjoyed.
Yeah.
For what that was, but here they're straying even further away from what makes The Wizard of Oz The Wizard of Oz, because granted, there have been so many versions over the years. Like, you can pick and choose whichever one's your favorite. Like, just last week, I think, I had you watch The Wiz.
It was like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
I had you watch The Wiz for the first time.
Yes.
Mind you, the 70s version, not this NBC version that they just did like a year ago.
So, yeah, that's right. It's not like it's even the first time NBC has touched The Wizard of Oz. So, I feel like The Wiz is a fantastic piece of dance and musical history. I think it absolutely needs to exist. I don't know if it's my favorite adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. I think it completely changes the character motivation of Dorothy entirely.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm cool with that characterization, but I thought it was a very visually interesting movie, even though I felt like the camera didn't do a whole heck of a lot of interesting stuff.
It's shot like crap, but it's a great soundtrack.
Absolutely.
But you bring up an interesting point here. The whole crux of the story, as far as your investment in the story, is if you believe Dorothy's journey or not. And more often than not, that can fail. Like, you remember, a lot of people have already forgotten, there was that CG Wizard of Oz movie within the past 3 years.
That existed. Was it just Oz?
It was just like Oz or something like that.
But
And then we
that's
also
like it's the prequel story of how the wizard came to Oz.
Well, no, that's
right?
not the same thing. This one was the Wizard of Oz, CG movie.
Okay, well,
and then there was Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oz the Great and Powerful
from Disney.
You're right.
So you see, there's been so many versions. It's like
not to mention there's been American animated television series.
Yes.
And there's been an anime. Bet you didn't know about the anime.
I didn't know about the anime.
Yes,
I really didn't.
it exists. It exists. Look it up.
What era?
Like the mid-'80s? Mid to late 80s, I want to say.
I did not know this.
This exists. Of course, there also exists a Lassie anime. Did you know about the Lassie anime?
I didn't know there was a Lassie
There's a Lassie anime. So, there's this whole brand new world of, like, novelization to anime sort of stuff and television to anime that you need to learn about. So anyway, back onto Wizard of Oz. So this has been adapted I don't know how many times, and do you think this is what the Wizard of Oz needed?
No. Well, because admittedly for what they did, at least with Oz the Great and Powerful, they did their best to try and weave in, okay, this fits in with the original 1930s movie. Mm-hmm. So I get that. And then on top of that, and you'd be remiss to not mention, they're still trying to develop Wicked, the stage play, into a movie. Right. So we still got that to look forward to. Because we complain, or I see people complain about superhero, burnout. Like we're oversaturated with superheroes in the movie market. Look how many different versions of the Wizard of Oz we have to choose from. And that's been, most of the stuff we brought up has been just within the last, 5 years or so. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot. And that's more...
Are we that fascinated with The Wizard of Oz? Is The Wizard of Oz a cheap property to adapt when you don't have any ideas? Is that it?
Well, in that sense, The Wizard of Oz, as far as the success ratio, as far as adaptations go, does that much better than, say, Tarzan. Because Tarzan, they try to revamp every 10 years or so, and it never works.
Except when Disney does it, and then Disney, everybody's like, woo, Phil Collins, woo!
Yeah, but that's Phil Collins. He helped.
Phil Collins is the one cheering for it.
Yeah, Phil Collins is the one cheering for it.
With drums.
He tried to add it. He really did. But then, and I see here people in the chat bringing up something very important. For my money, if you're going to darken up the Wizard of Oz, Return to Oz.
Yeah,
that was the pinnacle. You couldn't
which kind of made me uncomfortable when I was.
No, I remember I watched it and I was uncomfortable as a kid too.
Yeah.
But I was entranced, and it was like, man, I get what's going on, and it's super dark, and I recognize everything, but I totally buy this, and it holds up though. The effects, the way it was shot, which again makes sense for the time there in the 80s, but now there comes a point where you're trying too hard to appeal to the audience that watches something else. Can we let it rest?
I'd like to.
I would like to.
Yeah.
Whether or not we're going to watch it, admittedly we have NBC, we can check this out.
We can.
Because it's coming out next month in January. But I don't know how I feel about the fact that the Wizard apparently... Now, granted, it's Vincent D'Onofrio here, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin from Daredevil, as the Wizard, who I guess still doesn't have powers, but he's there. It's weird when they're talking stuff like, war is coming to Oz, and it's like, well, we get crap is bad there, but, I don't need to see armies fight.
Yeah.
Can you just bring in, the flying monkeys and stuff like that? That'd be cool. I'm down with that.
No, it's not whimsy fantasy anymore.
Well, see, that's the thing. When you take out all the that's the thing. Ever since the original, you can't have whimsy. And the last time you tried to have whimsy, it was a crappy CG animated movie a year or two back. So, how do you... what's the point of rebooting this thing if after a certain point all you're doing is the same reboot? Okay, it's Wizard of Oz, but dark and gritty. How many times can you sell that? Apparently a lot.
Yeah, apparently we're not done. Wait, they're gonna do it again. After this. After this is no longer on the air, it's gonna happen again.
And it's gonna be dark and gritty.
Yep.
And then we're seeing here, they're adapting things here. The Scarecrow, he's just a guy strung up with some straw on him, but he's not really a scarecrow.
And now she's gonna make out with him because he's hot now.
Yeah, now the Scarecrow is hot. Okay, great. And then apparently there's remodeled humans with like gear parts in them, and I guess that's what takes the place of the Tin Man here. And there's a guy wearing a lion's pelt. That must be the Cowardly Lion. I'm guessing. But it's like, okay, that's great, but if I wanted to watch Game of Thrones, I would watch Game of Thrones. I'm just saying. We have options.
Yes, options. NBC's making options for you.
Okay, yeah, that too. Tom and Jerry did Wizard of Oz.
They did.
How many times? How many times? We don't need it. I don't think we need it.
Then we don't need it here right now either.
I guess we don't, because I mean, I'll check it out just to see if it's any good. But I don't know that I'm down with, you know, trading in what I know the series to be for like giants and, you know, epic battles.
I guess the Munchkins are actually just dwarfs now. Like,
they're like nomad barbarian dwarfs now.
Yeah, yeah.
And like you're trying to rationalize to me, no, there's still a yellow brick road. We just couldn't say yellow brick. You just said follow the brick road. Why do you have bricks here? Like nothing that I see here.
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
the one like piece of whimsy that's in it, and why is it even still there now?
Yeah. Like, you could have said something like, follow the golden road. Like, that sounds more mystical, but no, it's still brick. It's still yellow brick. Like, there's some stuff you couldn't get away from. And, and then the fact that we get to see the bad witch get run down by a cop car.
Get hit by a car, yeah, rather than being hit by a house.
Yeah, like, we had to update that, too. Oh, no, it can't just be something that we see off-screen. You know, Dorothy wakes up and, oh, no, the house landed on her. No, you see that impact. She got hit like a deer.
And I've seen a deer get hit.
I know you've seen a deer.
Firsthand. With my own car.
Yeah.
That didn't survive.
But you didn't go to Kansas.
I didn't go to Kansas.
You went to
Colorado, which isn't too far away from Kansas, all things considered.
All things considered. So yeah, if you guys are interested in this is a thing next month on NBC. Probably check it out.
Okay, I'm getting rid of this.
Yeah, get rid of that.
All right, thank you. So you want to move on?
Yes, let's go ahead and move on to our second story having to do with the beautiful RX-78 Type 2 there out in Odaiba.
Yeah, this is in Tokyo, and this has been up for years. It's been one long-standing display since 2012. This is a 1/1 scale model of the RX-78, standing there, Odaiba, Tokyo, and it's gone up and down several times over a span of years. In fact, I remember I was first out in Japan in 2006. Not long after that, they put up, I'm pretty sure it was 2000, maybe it was 2009 they put it up. I remember in 2007 they had the 1/1 scale RX-78 that was at Fuji-Q Highland.
But that one was lying down.
But it was lying down and it was battle damaged. They couldn't figure out how to stand it up, and I was like, oh, I gotta get out there and see that. And I did eventually get out there and see that one in 2008. And then in 2009 they put up the Odaiba Gundam, and then they took it back down, and I went back out in 2010. And then
you missed it.
And then I missed it. And then they put it back up in 2012, and I didn't get to see it until I guess we went back last year in 2015. So that was my first time seeing it, and thank God, because apparently now, come this March, they're taking the Gundam back down again after it's been standing there for 4 years.
Yes, so on March 5th, that will be the day that the Gundam will be taken down, and apparently the attraction there, the Gundam Front Tokyo, there at Diver City, that's the name of the mall that's right there in the background, that store will also shut down a month, or 2 months later, January, February, March, a month later, on April 5th. So
Diver City, I don't know if you can hear it, but that's a pun in Japanese. Because there is no letter V in Japanese, and V's are pronounced like B's, so Daiba City is Odaiba. They made a pun, and because the Japanese can't pronounce V's.
Now,
anyway.
We brought this up before in a previous story in seasons past about how there's a plan there in Japan to have the Gundam be able to move by the year 2019.
And they definitely want it by the Olympics, and they want it for the 40th anniversary of Gundam. So they do have plans to bring the Gundam back, but when they do it, one, we're not sure when they'll do it, by 2019, hopefully.
More than likely.
But two, we don't know what it's gonna look like, we don't know how it's gonna move and sound. As of right now, the only part of it that moves is its head.
Yeah.
And
a little side-to-side action.
Does some side-to-side. Its eyes light up.
The vents shoot smoke.
There's music that plays, and you can walk under its crotch.
And there's a big line at the beginning of the day to walk under its crotch, because we were there.
Yeah, we were there
a year
opening,
ago.
Yeah.
And we should probably post some of those pictures on Twitter after this just to remind people. Yeah, we know what this is like. We were there. I was under his crotch. Actually, no. I opted not to go under his crotch because I thought that was weird. But I watched everybody else get in a big line, because it looks...
Chris went under his crotch.
Chris went under his crotch. Now, admittedly, if you're wondering what the underside of an RX-78 looks like in the crotch area, if you've ever put a Gunpla together, it looks like that. Just really big. Now, admittedly, I'm not going to lie, when we went out there last year and we got to see it, like, that was one of the highlights of the week. I cried.
Yeah.
A grown man, I cried at the sight of the Gundam in front of me, because I was there
I think it makes sense, though, because it's something I think man has wanted, is a giant, pilotable, man-ish looking robot that it's so close to being real.
I mean, it's
almost real.
It's half the reason why we want that fight between the Kratos Corporation and Megabots over here in America. That fight that's still coming. We haven't forgot about you. But that is just the precursor in our minds, in our childish imaginations to this.
Yes,
because we want this. We want the Gundam to move. The Japanese want the Gundam to move.
Yeah.
Nerds everywhere who are aware of what Mobile Suit Gundam is and what Mobile Suit Gundam represents want that thing to move. And then we want to be able to pilot it and then stop
take
colony.
it to space.
Yeah. Stop colony from falling. So yes, everyone digs giant robots. And granted, if you haven't had the chance to go see it, don't fret, they're gonna put it back up.
Yeah, I guess this means you technically have like 2 years worth time
to at least plan.
To plan and save up some money so that you can go out there, like, say maybe by the Olympics. You want to go out during the Olympics, that Gundam is more than likely gonna be back up again. Who knows what Diver City is gonna be like at that time, though.
Right.
I remember recently looking at what Tokyo's gonna look like come 2020, because they make all of these changes and adjustments to it's because the Olympics don't take place in one localized arena. It takes place all the freak over Tokyo. Okay?
Right.
And that includes Odaiba, where I believe they're doing a lot of their water-based Olympic sports.
Right.
So the layout for that is going to change a whole heck of a lot, which I'm sure must be part of the reason why Diver City in general is going to close down, and they're going to make adjustments to it. They're prepping for this huge onslaught of tourism come 2020.
Because they're adding more English signs there because they want to promote tourism. They want people to come out and visit.
Right,
especially with all the different natural disasters around the area. A lot of the money that comes into the country now is from tourism, so they're going to promote that as hard as they can. And the thing about it is, you guys remember from the last Olympics, they're promoting their nerdy side of their culture.
Yeah,
that's half the reason I would want to go to the Olympics, is to see what kind of awesome opening ceremony Japan puts on.
In fact, Abe, Prime Minister Abe, I believe he himself is promoting Hatsune Miku for some reason as further tourism incentive. Like they have really come to embrace the fact that people just know us for games and otaku weeaboo crap. If it's bringing people in, then what the okay, whatever, just let them have it. Just use it to bring people. We don't freaking care anymore. Like, they've given up caring. And shoot, I'm somebody who's been watching this kinda sorta anime, but not really, series called Ohenro, which is a series that has 3 cute little anime girls walking the 88 Temple Shikoku Pilgrimage, a very, very traditional Japanese thing to do that takes like a month and a half to walk, but they're using cute, adorable little anime girls as promotion to get people to come out there and do the pilgrimage. And that seems to be working for Japan right now.
So the thing of it is, you have to imagine, because I don't doubt that they're going to exclude things like this from their opening ceremonies. If that could be the crowning piece, like
A walking Gundam out.
a walking Gundam, you can't top that. Like, beat that, Australia. Like, we've got a Gundam, a walking Gundam. Like, people here.
Yeah, but then eventually we're gonna get to, like, G Gundam, where every different country wants to have their own representation.
And then
Gundam.
and then G Gundam becomes a reality and in itself an Olympic sport.
Oh, man. But then that means we don't live in the Universal Century.
Yeah, but we would have Mr. Announcer guy, the awesome guy.
I guess, yeah. I think you might be thinking of Metabots.
No, I like the announcer from G Gundam, with the eye patch. I know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, we would get Gundam Maxter over here for America. Who knows? We might actually have to build that to combat other mobile suits from other countries. I'm just saying, to a lot of people, this Gundam is important. Those of you there in the chat saying, "Oh, I want to put this on my bucket list." It's absolutely something you should put on your bucket list.
Yeah, for sure.
When it goes back up, make your plans. Go out there. We aren't the most skilled people, but we made basic plans and we did it.
Yeah, it's, I would absolutely, at any place, at any time, talk to anybody about how you can very cheaply and easily do this trip, because you don't have to spend $80 bajillion to make a trip to Tokyo. You really, really don't. You should go and do this, and if you can't do it within the next 3 months, then surely save up the next 2 years. They want it to be back by 2019, I guarantee it, so that they can be there for the 40th anniversary of Mobile Suit Gundam. They want it there by that time. It's gonna look different, but maybe it'll be better. Maybe it'll be cooler. I'm going to think that that's what they have in mind, is that when they put it back up, it can't just be this. They have to make it bigger and better and move and make noises and all kinds of things.
Because you look at the data here, from when it first got put up in Shiokaze Park there on Odaiba Island, it was only there for a little under, I should say, 2 months, and they had 4.15 million people come visit this thing, and that's for a limited release. Even when we were there was still a huge crowd, and we were there first thing in the morning, like at the butt crack of dawn.
Like we were napping at the Gundam's feet.
Now that's something you can put on your bucket list. You napped at the foot of the RX-78.
Yeah.
We did that. And it was because you feel protected. No, the Gundam won't betray me. He will protect me. He's going to save me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm honestly getting a little worked up here. I want to go back and visit it again.
For sure,
because it's something worth seeing. So fret not, the Gundam will return to protect us all.
Yes. Okay. I guess we can move on now. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Alright. Thank you, RX-78. Thank you for your services. Time for another happy Japanese thing, because here is Shigeru Miyamoto.
I love how he was perfectly hiding behind you. That's great.
Woohoo! It just pops out here. Of course, creator of Mario standing there next to the Universal Globe. And Nintendo and Universal just the other day released a promotional video. I don't currently have that promotional video on me right now, but they're talking about their partnership with one another.
Which they announced last year.
Yeah, they announced it last year, but now, like, they're really barreling and moving forward
like this is going to be a thing
into
now.
Building a Nintendo land kind of area within each of their Universal Studios parks.
Across the world.
All 3 of them, so that's Universal Orlando, Universal Hollywood, and Universal in Japan, which is in Osaka.
Right.
So not just the Japanese, because the Japanese, we've talked about the Japanese Universal Studios all the time.
Several times, because they have great events.
How they continuously bring in Monster Hunter events and Biohazard events all the friggin' time. So
One Piece events.
And One Piece and stuff like that. So this is not just exclusive to Tokyo, or excuse me, to Osaka. This is coming to both ends of the United States.
Now, they've brought up a few bullet points that we're going to go ahead and repeat to you guys now about what they're doing. Of course, the first one being that they are, yes, bringing it to each of the 3 respective parks there. These will be expansive, immersive, and interactive attractions. They'll be highly themed and authentic environments. filled with multiple attractions, shops, and restaurants. Guests will feel as if they are playing inside of their favorite video games in real life. Their words, not mine.
Game?
You think this is a game? This is real life. There will be something for everyone, regardless of age or gaming level experience. Planning and creative work on these areas is well underway. They will open separately over the next several years. So they are definitely moving forward with this. And I appreciate that the stance they're taking still very much reflects the way Nintendo looks at the gaming market. It's not just based at one demographic. We want to open this up to everybody as humanly possible.
Well, yeah, because otherwise...
As many people as humanly possible.
Otherwise, that just plain wouldn't make sense to put it into Universal Studios when you got such a narrow demographic, because they're not bringing in as much money as they possibly could. That just wouldn't make sense.
Now, admittedly, Universal does decent business. They're not, hella rolling in the bucks, but they do all right. Which certainly, I imagine, better than Six Flags at this point.
Yeah, I would say so, for sure.
Now, the thing about it is, going into this, like we were talking about the last time we covered this, is if they're going to make these attractions, specifically I'm referring to, from my experience at least, Universal Studios in Florida, for any of you that have ever been out there...
Like the Islands of Adventure, specifically.
Right, there with the Islands of Adventure, there's limited space. Space is at a premium there. They only have so many places to put things.
Right.
So if they want to go ahead and install any sort of Nintendo attractions, where are they going to put them? Now, you and I were talking about this earlier tonight, about where they could potentially put that. Now, when you think about it, there's one thing that Universal Orlando has that really they don't need and actually kind of belongs to somebody else, and that's the Marvel attractions. So it stands...
How much do you think it costs them to even retain the rights to use those attractions these days?
That I don't know offhand, but I imagine...
I bet it's costly.
I imagine with a decision like this, I would be willing to bet Disney's still there knocking at Universal's door like, hey, you guys need room, and I believe you have some of my property.
Yeah.
The easiest thing to do, as much as I love the Marvel attractions there, I absolutely love what they have there at the Islands of Adventure, the Incredible Hulk roller coaster, the Spider-Man 4D ride. I love them. Easily, those could be the things that you could have gotten rid of quickest to make room for these Nintendo attractions, because... Granted, Disney kind of wants their stuff back. They want to be able to use Hulk and Spider-Man because they bought out Marvel.
Right, of course.
So it makes sense to do that. You can put in your own 4D Nintendo attraction or a themed roller coaster. Like, tell me you wouldn't ride a Bullet Bill roller coaster.
Oh, of course I will. That would be amazing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Mario Kart bumper cars. This stuff makes itself. Just like they do. Have the themed characters there. Mascot Mario, Luigi, and everybody out there shaking hands, taking pictures with kids. It makes perfect sense. So I think that would be best for them over there at Universal to kind of make the hard decision, like, yeah, we know a lot of people come here for our Marvel stuff, but more people are going to come for the Nintendo stuff.
I think, that would make me really sad, because I have had really good experiences with those Marvel attractions there. But I think you're kind of right. It does make sense that would be the first thing to go.
Yeah, because they're not getting rid of Harry Potter Land.
Oh, no.
No, the Potter stuff is there.
Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Wizarding World is there to stay.
Yeah.
Because, people make pilgrimages there. Like, you visit the Marvel attractions, you make a pilgrimage to Diagon Alley.
Yeah.
You remember, it's a sad thing to bring up, when Alan Rickman passed, people went straight to that section of the park to raise their wands in the air.
Yeah, of course.
That was a thing. So, now, I agree with you there, getting rid of the Lost Continent section. Granted, it was cool for what it was, but yeah, they could probably do away with that, too.
Yeah, it's not, anything to kick down the doors for.
Right.
It wasn't like, man, I can't wait to do that part of the park because I have such an emotional attachment to it from someplace else. No, I don't. What about Seuss area?
Didn't they already get rid of it?
No, it was there when we were there.
Oh, well, screw that. Keep Marvel, get rid of Seuss area.
Yeah.
What? That's not even a choice. Seuss area is the first. Get that out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring me. I want to be able to ride a Yoshi.
Yeah, oh man, that would be amazing.
No, see, the thing I was thinking about it, though, if you get rid of the Lost Continent area, you remember that...
Russell!
You remember that, attraction we went into that was in, that domed area? And
right.
What if you turned that into, a Zelda-themed kind of immersive event?
I mean, maybe.
If you did it right.
I mean, maybe.
I think it could
I don't
work.
see what you're seeing right away, actually.
Like I see it in my mind, but I don't know how to describe it. You know, like you're being guided through somewhere there in Hyrule, and you end up getting transported other places. Like theme it after one of the games.
I mean, maybe. I don't see what you're saying. I'm sorry.
You just gotta have the imagination for it. Please look forward to it.
Yeah. That makes me sad.
Yeah, and that would be the next thing I was actually gonna bring up. They need a statue.
Of Iwata?
Especially in the Japanese park.
Yeah, that'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, just a nice Iwata doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take your picture with it, and then you put a Mario hat on him, and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Have the one silent tear.
No, don't do that.
No, I will. Not the statue. What are you kidding? No, he has to be smiling. But the thing about it is, yeah, this kind of stuff makes sense, especially when we're getting into stuff like Monster Hunter stuff being touted as, oh yeah, we'll bring these events to other theme parks. Yeah, totally. Bring in everything. I want to be able to ride these different rides.
I do too. Yeah.
You know, ride a Yoshi, a Bullet Bill, roller coaster. You know that swing set. If you can, if they could put in one of those, but have the seats shaped like an R-wing, that would be great.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love that.
I don't know if that's nearly immersive enough for Star Fox.
It's enough for me.
Okay, I mean, Metroid's another property that...
Well, what would you do with Metroid, though?
I don't know.
I don't know, like, Metroid, the easiest thing you can do is like a shooting gallery sort of thing.
I mean, maybe. To me, that seems like something that you could do in 4D, actually.
4D, like the Spider-Man ride, but for Metroid.
Yeah, I could kind of see that.
Like you're following Samus on a mission.
Possibly, yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, when you put it that way, I can get behind that. That would look very interesting to see. Mm-hmm. Now the other thing about it, like we brought up with these before, is kind of like what Disney does. What do they call it when you're not quite Disney bounding? There at Disney parks. How's that going to affect cosplayers who love wearing video game costumes who want to go to the park and pose with stuff?
That's a good question because, you know what? I don't know. I think it's once again one of those situations where you have to be careful to not cosplay too well.
Right.
Or else people get confused and they think that you actually work at the park. I think it's very, very similar. I mean, I can't think of too many people who have ever tried to cosplay to Universal Studios. Not nearly to the extent that people
Disney.
try to get away with it at Disney. But you put Nintendo in there, and people might be more susceptible to trying to do it.
See, now, somebody brings up a good point here. If you're going to revamp the Seuss portion, just take out whatever kids' play place there is there and replace it with the Donkey Kong theme.
Yeah.
That writes
itself. All the ropes courses and everything. Yeah. But we need barrels that you can jump into and get shot out of, like cannons.
Yeah, cannons would be a big thing. How would you even replicate that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You just want cannons.
I just want cannons. And, you know, they'd sell bananas.
They would sell bananas.
Lots of bananas. They might have those little carts where you've got the choco-dipped bananas on a stick.
Choco banana. Those sell.
Yeah,
like, I don't
they would definitely
like
sell in Japan. In Japan, absolutely they sell.
Yes, absolutely. Like, I remember one year in college, we did that for our anime club. Mm-hmm. We sold frozen choco banana treats, and we sold out in about an hour and a half.
That's crazy to me.
And the event was like 3.5 hours. So
I don't feel like that's a hugely sought after thing in this city. But I think in Japan it would sell. I don't know about so much in California and Florida, but maybe and depending on the time of the year too. It depends. But if you had it themed Donkey Kong, then perhaps yes.
No, see that's the thing. You would take the chocolate bananas and then take the peels over to the Mario Kart area.
Yeah.
And then that's how you take care of that.
That sounds like it's gonna get real dangerous.
That
real
could
fast.
get real dangerous. Maybe that's not a good idea.
It's
a great idea.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Well, at least you're not getting blue shell.
No, you're not getting blue. See, I wonder. You could give people Mario Kart, but it would have to be you've got digital items, and then you choose what player, like what cart number you want it to affect, and then if you blue shell somebody.
Didn't they do something like that back at like South by Southwest a year or two back?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I want to say that they actually did that.
All I know is that you can do that sort of thing in the arcade versions of Mario Kart.
Right.
Granted, again, you're just sitting there. in the arcade cabinet, but I imagine you could have actual kart racing, and you have a digital interface, and you've got item and then cart number or whoever is in front, and like if you have a blue shell, you just go boop, and then it digitally hits the cart that's in first, and nothing drastic happens. It just kind of slows down and stops for about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then they keep going, which would be infuriating.
If they could offer that safely, Splatoon paintball.
Oh, I can't imagine it being done safely. I would sooner bet that they would turn Splatoon into laser tag first.
Or like water.
Or water, yeah. Water,
just put you
not...
in a one of those big old baggy suits. That way, when you get hit, it doesn't stain or wet anything. But yeah, that would totally work.
Yeah, I'd sooner see it being water than actual
Now,
paint.
admittedly, when it comes to Sonic stuff, we've seen some of that over at Sega Joypolis.
Yeah.
So they could bring some of those games over here, like the actual arcade Sonic running treadmill game.
But that would be extra licensing that's out of Sega, not out of Nintendo. Nintendo licenses Sega stuff to use on their consoles. This is like licensing through a license. I don't think it really would work quite the same.
Plus, it depends on what's going to get people attracted to the park quicker. And their flagship titles, things like Mario, Zelda, Star Fox, those are the things they're going to want to put up first.
Right, of course.
So, yeah, we're still waiting to see what it exactly is that they're going to do in each of the different parks. What would be nice is to see a uniformity between them all, but let's be real, some of them are going to have their own individual, unique attractions, which will make you want to go visit all of them.
Of course.
That's a thing that works with Disney. You don't always have the same rides in one Disney park that you do in another.
There's a lot of similarity, but a lot of parks have something unique about them.
Right, so this is best left up to the people there at Universal. How are you best going to implement what Nintendo has to offer? Because Nintendo's like, come on, we got the money to do this. We got to pay for the Switch. Don't let us down.
Please, yeah.
We'll thwomp you.
Oh, that's harsh.
That is harsh.
Yeah. And that's about all we can.
That's about all we can do right there.
With this, right?
But that's a lot, though. A lot to look forward to.
So, yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to next week too, because I think they're kind of wrapping up the Game Awards right now. So next week, of course, we want to talk about the Game Awards, but for right now, thank you to everybody who came out here to be with us live during the Game Awards, even though we weren't watching the Game Awards. But you can certainly stick around with us for the next half an hour, and we can kind of be looking into what they're doing over at the Game Awards now.
And for those of you who watched the Game Awards and you're watching us later on YouTube, we don't blame you. We just thank you for the view.
Yeah, but definitely please try and come out here next week, because we're always here live on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central, and you can come and hang out with everybody over here in the chat, hang out with us for an additional half an hour for Q&A that you guys never get to see. I would love to see you guys down here for that.
Yes. And of course, during the week, you can always talk to us about stories we've talked about here on the show, over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl.
And for tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims, we thank you guys for being with us. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you, everybody. Here's an advertisement. Thanks a lot.
Danny is a young sci-fi writer living in the UK. Everything was going great until one day he was captured by a beautiful woman, terrifyingly hot. Her name is Morphine, and she'll make you scream. Get ready for your adrenaline shot, 'cause she locked him up in the basement. She tortures him day and night, whips and chains and moans and pain. She forces him to write.